My name is Ivi-Christina Sanchez, and racially I'm Asian, but I am culturally Hispanic, specifically Russian Jew and Mexican Native and Indigenous. I was born October 11th, 2002. I had a late birthday. I'm not going to sugarcoat this senior presentation. This is mainly the reasons why, and in my high school career, what has progressed in my art and in my family. School has never been something that was my first priority because I always struggled to be here mentally and to want to stay here in the world. My family and my art are one of the main and biggest reasons why I'm here. Before I attended I-Ford, I attended Divine Savior Holy Angels for 2 years prior of doing the 2 years at I-Ford. I am a senior now, 12th grader. I started doing art from the moment that I was 5 years old and singing with my family. The person that got me into it was my brother. My niece was my biggest inspiration for staying here and doing art. Mentally, she's my biggest goal to do better for myself and to do school. She's my biggest motivation. I attended a couple of the dances there. I did swim while I was at Divine Savior Holy Angels. I was very, very into it. I love poetry. I did so much poetry during that period of time. I did love poetry, heartbreak poetry, and my current situations to help relieve the pressure going on in my life. English was my strongest subject. I did art for Pride. This is a transition now to my sophomore year. I was gone for 3 months before my sophomore year even started. I literally left the first day. My niece visiting me in the hospital. I did so much art while I was in the hospital. That is what kept me going. My niece is what kept me going and wanting to fight to stay here. I did art after art of self-portraits, self-expression, even graphic designing. I started implementing my culture into it and even drawing myself to create more of a self-love. I did more mental state art. My niece started becoming more like me after I returned home because I spent time with her before I could attend school again. My niece and nephew, Gabriel and Celine, moved in between the twins. And my niece continued being my biggest inspiration. This is when I enrolled into I-Forward. I drew that for a class. I'm a junior now in this year. My niece and nephew, I started hanging out more with them. This is when COVID hit. I hung out more with my dog Coco and my niece and nephew. My niece Camila moved out, but she continued to visit. I watched her from time to time. This is my resume from applying to Noodles for my junior and senior year. I got accepted in the interview right off the bat. That is me working after and going home. I started doing more art of the people that I was with or seeing or talking to, friends-wise and romantically. I started pushing more to do more art and to pushing to do more school and more studies within school. I started doing more activism and more things to speak out to give people more of a voice. This is the time where there was BLM and racial things going on, racial injustices with cops and Christians and Catholics forcing their religion onto other people. And also men silencing women. This is the time when school was ending and I started doing summer school and I went to Colorado to visit family. This is the time that Gabriel and Celine first were introduced to pool and water and parks. My family just started spending more time together and valuing more and cherishing more with COVID. This is now my senior year going into. We did a road trip before with Coco. This is the last road trip we did with her. She was 11 at this time, 10, 11. This is me, Miss Jose. This is my niece, Celine. They are very much, and Camila, they are very much the reason why I'm here. Very much the reason I fight for my mental health and other people's rights. I'm a big activist. That's the only thing that keeps me moving. I started planning out my future more with my girlfriend, and I made tattoo art for us as well in the future. This is also me spending more time with my family. I decided not during those times when I didn't have my things and the ability to do school. I decided not to let it get me down, but spend more time with the people that matter the most. As in, I didn't have control over not having the ability to do school. That is Sasha. She was born in November. That is more art of me and my girlfriend. She is Filipino and I am Mexican, so I implemented a lot of our culture, seeing it is very important to us, and activism is very important to us. And our sexuality is important, mainly because a lot of people use religion and things like that to hate on others. So I do not condone it, and that is something that I learned, that just because people want you to solely focus on school and not your mental health doesn't mean that you can't do both. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't focus on wanting to be here more than school. School will always be there, but the person will not be. And that is the biggest thing I've learned in, life and within my 4 years of high school. I did art of a family member that passed away from another family member. That is Coco and Leilani. They stayed up with me every night to do school. When I did have my things and the ability to do so, I worked every night to do assignments as much as I could, even if it was a little. That is me and Sasha. I did more artwork practicing on my nieces and nephews because they, again, are my biggest reason. Camila, I did more art of her. What you'll see here is basically the things that have kept me here the 4 years. I won't sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say that school was my biggest reason, school was my biggest motivator, because it was not. And life isn't anything without the people in it. So this is basically that. And basically also doing service is a big deal for me because it's to help other people. I love and always have loved doing service. It just became harder to do with COVID. So I was grateful for the opportunity given to me to do cards for kids, because it combined art, which is what I love, and helping people and easing their pain as well. I did this to design my Senior Eye Forward sweater because I wanted to do my own Hispanic cultural sweater. So I was working on this as well. Between this time, my dog had passed away and got sick. This is literally a couple days before I started doing school a lot more back to back, and I stopped doing it for maybe 2-3 days because she passed away and all the complications we had to deal with. I didn't leave her alone once. Anyways, this is my senior year in a nutshell, and these are the things and people that have helped me. Like I said, the only things that have progressed are my art, my music, my culture, and wanting to know more about the person and family that I have. My family, my girlfriend, my late dog that passed, are my biggest deals within my high school career. And I have always been a social person. I've always been able to get myself through the next day, and I think that's the biggest part of high school and learning those things in high school. I learned real life things on my own rather than sitting on a desk and, doing school that way. And I work with people, I work with what I have, and I try to make do with the person that I am and to progress and better myself. That is the one thing that I do. I try to better others and myself, but I will not force it on another person. Overall, these are my 4 years in high school, and I'm pretty proud of the person that I've become. I used to be very meek and quiet and not really show-offy, and now I am confident in who I am. I'm okay with who I am, and I do not care what other people think of me or if they think I lack in school, because I do know that I give it my 100 when I can, and what I can within my control. And yeah, that is who I am. I'm Ivi-Christina Sanchez, and that is my senior year. Countless stars at your feet.